What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Console Kids Podcast, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the new titles that Arcade1Up may or may not be coming out with in the future. I'm pretty excited to talk about this topic, in fact, because I do have some opinions on it. But before we jump into that, I want to let you know that this video is sponsored by me. So go check out my new video, the GBA HDMI kit. And for those that enjoy watching my content about Arcade1Up, do me a favor, go over, even if you're not interested in this kit, go check it out, comment, and here's why. I really am just looking for feedback. It's a new type of content style that I used to do years ago, but I spent a lot of time on the editing, and I would love to know your thoughts if you like the style and you want to see me make more content like that. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be doing this weekly podcast about Arcade1Up. My plan is to make this channel, as it grows, it's going to be a multi-topic channel, and I'll start covering what I used to cover a lot, which is console kits, if you will, right? Kits about consoles. And every month I'm going to try to introduce a little bit more content, throughout the year. You'll see more and more content from me in that style. So go check out that video. I think you'll really enjoy it. Here's a little sneak peek of it. It's a lot of overhead shots, multiple cameras. It took a long time for me to set it up, and I did all the artwork, I did all the editing, all the animations, and boy, it's a lot of work. But now that I've done it, I got that experience, I can do it again on another review. So let me know what you thought of it. It's a different content style, so it doesn't have the views that I normally have, and maybe that's why I'm telling you to go over there. But also, really, what would help me as a content creator is that feedback, right? Like, if I'm not getting feedback from the community, then I'm not growing. I'm not learning how to make content in both the way that I enjoy making it, but also that it's appealing to an audience. When you get those two things, when they intersect on that Venn diagram, that's when you have a sense of accomplishment and you'll enjoy it. But I want to talk about not HSN. I was checking to see if HSN had any deals earlier, and it looks like they do not. But the topic at hand, I was thinking about Stargate, right? From Arcade1Up, there's a lot of people that are mentioning, will Arcade1Up come out with the Stargate game, right? So this is like a midway game, originally Williams. They did a Defender, and I do believe that we're going to get more midway games. In fact, early on this year, when there was a little bit more communication with some of the folks, multiple people at Arcade1Up, they did kind of hint towards heavy Williams cabs or midway cabs. And mainly this comes all the way back from last year, even when we had the 1UP Weekly, and there was a lot of communication about Eugene Jarvis and a couple other folks involved in a couple projects, and one of them talking about was Stargate. Now, one of the reasons why we haven't seen Stargate on any of the Arcade1Up cabinets or even the Partycade, I did notice in the wiki that there's a talk about this. Sometimes the home console is called Defender 2 due to some legal issues. And this is new to me. I don't know. Comment below if you are familiar with anything about this. But due to some legal issues, Midway Arcade ended up calling it Defender 2. And I wonder if there's other reasons why we haven't seen a Stargate or a Defender 2, but I know that is a big ask, and I know that Arcade1Up was at least thinking about doing what we've all called a proper Defender, and more cabinets like the Tron Arcade1Up cabinet. If you take a look at Arcade1Up's website, this last year they dive deep in. We're seeing the Dragon's Lair, for example. This is them going for a different crowd of people, right? Like wanting to get those older cabinets, but make it look a little bit more closer to the original. And they didn't do that with Defender because, they came out with a Mortal Kombat 2. And I've talked a little bit about this on a few channels or a few videos, but like this Tron, I think people really were excited about it. And if you look at the price of $699, for example, we haven't seen a heavy price drop on the Tron. And it got me thinking, is that because the cabinet's doing successful? I know that when it came out on Target, this was a multiple retailers. It did sell out very quickly, whereas what we've seen this last week is that Ridge Racer, although it says $699 here, it was price dropped at Best Buy at $550, indicating that maybe there's a little struggle to get this cabinet to move whereas titles more like Tron didn't have much of an issue. And so I'm painting this picture, and I'd love to know what you think about it, because you know, we had heard from Arcade1Up they do plan on coming out with you know, more titles, and I wonder if this is how they can do it. It's not really a re-release, right? In your opinion, if Arcade1Up came out with a Stargate, right, as the main title, right, and maybe they finally do, you know, I'm kind of back and forth on this. Do they do a Sinistar proper, or do they do a Sinistar as a horizontal port? You know, because when you take a game like Defender and you put a whole bunch of Williams games on it, but then you need to put a vertical game on it, I think maybe they may end up doing that. But the other reason why I think Sinistar may be coming in an Arcade1Up cabinet, maybe it's a Defender 2, maybe it'll be titled Defender 2 instead of Stargate if there's still some legal issues with that trademark or something, is NFL Blitz has long been said to be an Arcade1Up cabinet that is coming. A lot of people don't believe it, that 96, 97 version, or maybe it's NFL 99. I'm not really sure, and I was doing some research on that, and here's John's Arcade. He's got it's a pretty good video where it's just basically, it's a couple of years ago, he's talking about, he's just kind of walking around talking about this NFL Blitz that he has, and it kind of got me excited about it, because whenever I go to a local auction that has full-size arcades, it seems like NFL Blitz continuously is a cabinet that I do see in the local arcade, but I see them at variety of prices, right? I see them really expensive, sometimes upwards of $1,000 and more, and these things are huge, they're a beast. And sometimes on the side, they have the little memory card, you know, where you could take like a Nintendo 64 memory card. I never really did that, but I've seen them, right? I don't really understand how it worked. That one didn't really seem like you could connect anything to it. And then more recently, there was an NFL Blitz that I saw that went for way less. I want to say like $600, but it needed a lot of work. It needed a lot of work. But again, it's a title that a lot of people were bidding on. There was a lot of excitement for it. Of course, if Arcade1Up came out with an NFL Blitz, a lot of people would be excited about it. We've seen a lot of that. But I want to know what you think. We're live here, so I'm going to take a look at the chat here. We got a couple different opinions on some different matters, and let's review it. So Super J, thank you for an early chat. He says, what does everyone think about the newer games like a Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Tekken 7, Time Crisis 5 being released, or do most people want older games? Great topic. I think this is interesting, and the Williams Midway conversation is a really good one, and we know we're going to get multiple cabs that I believe that are from Midway this year, and I don't know if that was the Mortal Kombat release, right? And we do believe NFL Blitz is coming out, but this is a mixture where you work with one company and maybe you release a Stargate under Midway, right? And that's going to satisfy that older crowd, right? I don't mean like your old people, right? But it's like the older games. There's certain people, no matter what the age are, that have an attraction towards a generation set of games, just like Super J had suggested. Whereas NFL Blitz, depending on which versions of the games they have on it, I think this is a Code Mystics port as well. There was talks about Code Mystics being involved in it. Remember, they did NBA Jam, and they're probably the ones that can try to optimize an NFL Blitz cabinet to be online, and that's key. So I think what we'll probably see is a Defender, maybe high score online, maybe in a Stargate, maybe with Sinistar, maybe with an optical joystick for the 49-way gate. Now, what you may not know about, because this is something I have only recently learned, is some of these arcade cabinets have 49 ways. And if you're not familiar with that, you're like, wait, we have a 4-way stick, an 8-way stick. How do you get to 49? And so really one way you can think about it is like an 8-way gate is just 2 axes, right? But it's either on or off in those 4 directions, right? Up, down, left, right. It's either on or off, and you can go diagonal, which is, you know, how you get the 8, and that's just up and right, like north and south, or I'm sorry, north and east at the same time, right? But what if you have multiple levels? And that's basically a 49-way gate. You have 3 levels in each direction. So think of a 7x7 grid, and where the joystick is centered in the center, right? And you can go in a bigger direction. You can go 3 layers in every direction, and that adjusts the sensitivity. So how could you bring that? Like, is Arcade1Up going to do a 49-way gate with that many micro switches in it? Is that practical? No. But you can do that. Like, I mean, I wish I could show you. Like, I have an optical mouse right here on my computer desk here, and that's basically an infinite way gate. I don't know, right? But you can take a similar technology or two pots like that. It's really like Star Wars if you think about it. Like the Star Wars is two potentiometers, and so that's the two axes, but you get multiple levers. It's not just on and off. There's like multiple levers, and so that's how you can get pretty cool gameplay, and that's something that we'll see in common in a Sinistar or NFL Blitz, if I'm not mistaken. I believe, and this is something that I didn't spot, but I remember I was watching this video about NFL Blitz. It wasn't this one from Joe's Arcade, Joe's Classic Video Games. It wasn't him. I think it was Todd Tuckey, and he was talking about a 49-way gate, doing like a repair on it, but he was talking about NFL Blitz. And I was like, wait a second. So you got Sinistar, 49-way, and that was Williams. Then you got NFL Blitz, 49-way, and is that one of the other challenges for a Blitz? Tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm way out of place, talking out of line. But again, I think that's that spectrum where you're working with one company and you can kind of get an older game and a newer game, and it's a project with Williams or Midway, and it's going to excite a large span of people, and it's a new title. And then Sinistar and Stargate would be new titles, but you're going to throw Defender 1 in there and a whole bunch of other kind of older Williams games on it as well, and people will be happy. People will be excited. They'll feel like it's a new title. They'll feel like it's not just a reskin, right? It's actually something new. Let me know in the live chat what you guys think about that. We're gonna move on here with that's not what I wanted. There we go. Okay, so next topic, I want a proper Spy Hunter. That's really exciting. There are some new full-size arcades that I've bought recently, and Spy Hunter's not one of them, but I got one that's kind of close to that. And I got a Zaxxon, and I did reveal that in a other stream, and that is something I would love to get from Arcade1Up, but I realized with my full-size arcade collection, it's like I'm trying to recreate this arcade that was at this like hospital when I was a kid, and Zaxxon was one of them. Spy Hunter was definitely something I remember playing. I just can't place it where it was. And Harold Miller right there talking about Zaxxon, Berserk, Moon Patrol, and Star Castle. Now that's a cool lineup. See, this is an example of somebody wanting those kind of earlier 80s cabinets, right, from Arcade1Up. And I think he's on that on that kick where he's like, can we get something a little bit earlier? That's a Sega cabinet. And I mean, I think there's some new Sega stuff coming out. I don't know when. We do know that there's a Sonic cabinet that's coming out. That is another one of the leaks out there. And some of the speculations about that, which are pretty strong speculations, is all the newer cabinets that are not a legacy are going to have online gameplay in some way or shape or form. Either if it's a multiplayer or it's high score. But if you take those console games like Sonic, one of the ways that you can really bring in interest into that is take the console game Sonic and make it so they're like speedrun games. And so maybe there would be a competition of people trying to get the fastest run. And that's what we're starting to see, like even on what was it, Golden Tee. There's a lot of high scores where you can submit all these different high scores so you can kind of chase the leaderboards in multiple categories. And we're probably going to see a lot more of that. Arcade1Up's new slogan, their new concept is where they're going to take something from the old, something from the new, and combine it together. But it still has that feeling of an arcade. Even though there's technology involved, it's like you're still chasing a leaderboard, right? But the leaderboard that you're chasing is new and fresh and designed a little bit differently. So Rick says, I think people want the games that they remember playing in the arcade. So that's with me. Definitely, it's like those games that really appeal to me are really the ones that they're nostalgic for me, right? And nostalgia has a lot to do with it. There are a handful of titles like Sinistar where previously that was not a game I remember playing in the arcade, but once I started playing it, I really fell in love with that. Gunbird is another one that's on the iArcade that I never played as a kid, but once I started playing it, and I think what it is so a lot of games kind of stole premises from other people, or from other games, or some games are just great. Some games are just great, and even though you didn't play them as a kid, you play them later, even though they're a 30-year-old game, you fall in love with them right away. This is the game you would have fell in love with if you played it as a kid. That's pretty good. Let's see. Rick is saying, I really like any tile that has a unique control like trackballs or light guns or spinners. So we know that each year they're going to be coming out with at least one light gun game. It looks like Time Crisis is going to be this year's light gun game. What we don't know is what other games are going to be paired with it. There's some trouble with that. Like Time Crisis would be a really cool, but Time Crisis 2 is 2 screens. But I was checking out a video from RetroRGB Bob, and he was talking about in the Mr. scene, which is pretty exciting. In the Mr. scene, there are modifications where you can play like multiplayer on one machine. Okay, so you take one Mr. emulation, and you can output 2 screens, right? But you're playing the same game on both screens, but player 1 is on screen 1. Player 2 is on screen 2, but it's one game. There is no link cable in this on the Mister. That's something that I haven't checked out, and I think they were playing like, was it F-Zero? I think it was F-Zero it was F-Zero multiplayer, and on 2 different screens, one machine. So has any commercial emulator thought about that, where you're like, you know, you can have multiple screen outputs? I mean, I don't know if that's what we're going to do, but the point is, coming back to Arcade1Up, Time Crisis 2, multiple screen. Is that going to be like, are they going to redo the game or figure out a way with the dip switches to be like it's a single player? Is that arcade ROM even support that? Goofy Foot saying, it jumped, sorry. Now I got to jump all the way back up. I may have lost everyone. Okay. Goofy Foot saying, hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well on this glorious Lazy for Me Sunday. JJ says, I'd love to see more titles from the 1980 to 1987 era. My sweet spot for games, titles like Robotron, Q*bert, Donkey Kong, Battlezone, Zaxxon, Vanguard, Baby Pack, Sinistar with the 49-way stick. Love you, JJ, man. You got some good taste. That's just good taste right there. All right. Yeah, everyone's lazing around. Phoenix was one of my favorites when it was new. I have the Phoenix Cabaret. That one's definitely fun. I got that for $6.50. That was a good price. Kind of looks like the Miss Pac-Man or the Pac-Man Cabaret. Like it's probably Williams. I can't remember who did that one. Like who or not Williams, but like Midway, I think. Those cabarets, a lot of them. I'm not sure who did that one, but it's a good one. Let's see what other opinions. Afterburner is the topic people are talking about. Let's see. Or Gyrus. Yeah, there we go. I just saw on Facebook Market a Gyrus that was for sale, and it pulled on me. That was at an auction a couple auctions ago. That reminds me, right next to that Gyrus was a Soul, what was it? A Soul Calibur? And Arcade Eric, he picked up this Soul Calibur, and I remember talking to him, and he's like, that Soul Calibur, you see that Soul Calibur over there? That's actually like a Defender cabinet. It's like a Williams shape. You know what would be really cool is if I took that cabinet and took all the artwork off and redid the entire thing and made it like a true, proper Williams cabinet. And then like a year later, he did it, and he put it up on Facebook Market, and someone's going to snag that. Someone's going to snag that for a really good price and have a multi-Williams with Sinister or Sinistar? Defenders. Yeah. Someone lucky's going to pick that one up. Wonder who that is. Anyway, I like the 80s styles. They sell the best, but I believe Arcade1Up is about to unload some new cabs for us. I'm 100% sure Blitz is coming, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 will happen at some point. So I do believe Blitz is on its way. The MVC2, that's the one. That's the one that's like, you know, there was a lot of leaks about new titles, and now that the Collectorcade has been officially, you know, announced, it's out, or it's available in the UK for pre-order, that's good enough, right? We saw pictures of it this week, and that is part of the same leaks that came from the NFL Blitz leak, the Time Crisis leaks, and the Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But again, it was Marvel vs. Capcom II. And we have seen a few times early on, Arcade1Up will put like a Marvel Pinball II. It's like Mark II, you know, or it's 1-1. It's hard to tell. Is it LL? I don't know. But it's 2 lines. It's like a Roman numeral 2. That doesn't mean it's Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It could be a second run, a Wave 2 run of the original Marvel vs. Capcom. It's hard to say. If I was a betting person on this one, I would say Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is not ready. But Blitz is, I think that's a little bit more legit. All right, let's take a look at the chat again. Let's see. People are talking about the new content. Man, I just hope some of the new titles myself. David's like, they haven't released most of the crap announced at CES this year. Where's Mortal Kombat? Where's Centipede? I know, right? This is a really interesting year from Arcade1Up. Usually by now, let's take a look at the website. Usually by now, closer to May, June, we start to see some of the titles. Now, last year, there was a few titles that got announced but weren't really released for a long time. I remember in 2020, there was a pinball announcement at CES, but we didn't really see it until almost a year later. So it's not completely out of the question, but, you know, Dragon's Lair was held back. What is going on with the Shaq edition? This is their biggest failure, I think, out of everything. This is just one of their, like, collaboration cabinets. Every single collaboration thing they've ever done, in my opinion, has never been something that is rated as successful by anybody. You know, it's like, I don't even ever see them for sale, but this one is touted to be, you know, like, it's even, they're not embarrassed to do the partnership like they're embarrassed to do the partnership with everyone else. There's no Supreme cabinet. I don't even remember all the different collaboration cabinets that they had done before where they're just trying to get some marketing at it. What is a beer cabinet? You know, there's like a Bush cabinet with a refrigerator in it, and we're now starting to see pictures of that, but it's only at retail locations. It's just a promotional item. But this Shaq cabinet is like a real thing. If you're a huge Shaq fan, I'm not going to say anything negative about it. I'm not going to upset you by that. But the rest of us, NBA Jam is a fantastic cabinet. And for them to, like, turn it into this, like, you know, whatever made up title thing that they have, I just don't buy it. Anyway, the other thing, while we're here, this is the thing. If you're curious about how bad the monitor is on the Golden Tee and you don't believe it, well, at least Arcade1Up is not lying to you on their pictures, because right there's no extra Photoshop. This is, I believe this is one of those real photo shoots, and we've seen this in the past. They did this in 2018, 2019, where they actually do photo shoots of cabinets, and this looks like a photo shoot from the cabinet. There's a little bit of reflection there of the room. Now, that could have been done in Photoshop, but there's all these wrinkles like in the curtain there. But that screen, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. It actually, and when you look at it right here, it doesn't look so bad. It's not great. And here it is again. This is a real shot. It's real ghosty. Out of all home, look at that. Look at that. The viewing angles on this cabinet are. This is what it looks like. This is legit. Like, straight up, if you bought it, that's what's gonna look like. Now, if you're playing it and you're at the just perfect height, it's not bad. It's not bad. But at any other angle, it's gonna look different. Okay. Anyway, you're right. So a lot of the Arcade1Up cabinets that have been announced at CES, some of them have made it, and some of them have not. And we still haven't seen the Centipede and the Mortal Kombat. Yeah, okay, so which portable game systems do you recommend? I want something that can easily emulate all my Genesis systems. So if you're wanting to get into something that's an emulation, definitely check out Mister. And so Mister is a little FPGA board. You can get the DE10 Nano for about $200. Now, the shipping on that is pretty high, but get it. Those, if you go on eBay and you look for a Mister, they're like $500-$600 ready to go. The prices have really gone up because the parts are scarce. But if you go to the company, what is it? I can't remember the name of the company that makes the DE10 Nano. I just ordered a second one the other day because I fried my first Mister. So if you go to I don't know how to pronounce it, the Terrasic? I don't know why I don't know how to pronounce that. But if you go directly to this website, here you go. DE10 Nano, they are available. Like, I ordered one recently. It just took a while to ship, and it came directly from, like, Egypt or something like that. It's $210, and then shipping is, like, $50 or something like that. Just buy it. If you're wanting to get a really high-end system, it's basically, in my opinion, you get a Pi or you get a Mister these days. The analog NT and what is it? I got all those, the Super NT and the Mega SG from Analog is also really good, but they're like never available. Like, you can't find them. They're like never in stock. These are scarce too, but again, this is a development kit that you go and buy, and you can get it in like a 3D print. There's a lot of videos out there. Go check out Smoke Monster. RetroRGB did a good video, so go check out the YouTuber RetroRGB. On his website, he has a guide of, it's like a 10-minute video of how to get started with emulation with FPGA, and the cores for Sega Genesis are fantastic on this. You know, so we're talking about HDMI out, really high quality, and it's all open source. It's all an open source project. You can go download all the emulators on GitHub, and then you just sideload the ROMs yourself. It's a great project. Got to check it out. All right, continue on. Where's the new pinball? Yeah, I haven't heard anything about the pinball, and in fact, I've heard absolutely nothing about the pinball. I asked about pinballs, and I got like a big nothing. Oh, that's right, $150. So this week, if you didn't catch up, there was a deal where it looks like what happened was someone at Target messed up the price for the discounted pinball machines. It's supposed to be $150 off, and I've been tracking this for a while. If you go to my website, consulkits.com, you'll see that right now we do have a deal on these pinball machines, but they're $599. But normally, see, they're $750, so that's a $150 difference. But at Target, what happened is they accidentally priced them at $150 instead of $150 off. But it appears what happened was Amazon, with their algorithms, or I don't know exactly, they price matched it instantly and then honored the price match. And so tons of people went to Amazon and bought $150 pinball machines. And from the content creators I've seen, at least 19K Fox has a Marvel machine, and UAG has I think it's a Marvel as well, right? I think it was a Marvel deal, right? And yeah, and then multiple people on Facebook have reported that they received theirs. I was able to pull the trigger on Target. Amazon adjusted their price before I saw it. I did make the order at Target because I was like, $150 pinball machine? Why not, right? I mean, even if I decided I regretted it later, I could get my money back easy. And then, yeah, they canceled my order at Target. So a lot of people are upset that the orders were canceled. But it is what it is. It's a price mistake, and some companies will eat that mistake with the profit they have. Sometimes it's a loss, and sometimes consumers win, sometimes consumers don't. All those people that bought from Amazon, I remember reading an article in the past that how Amazon works is Amazon, from the technology point of view, they do what's called eventual, what is it called? Eventual consistency. So eventual consistency is a database design where instead of all of your transactions being 100% atomic, where they happen and they're guaranteed to happen, and once it's confirmed to happen, that's when your order goes through. Amazon leans towards this eventual consistency. And what happens is, mathematically, if you got millions and millions of people ordering, you're going to get some mistakes that go through, and they just honor those mistakes because they just make it up in all the volume. So this could be a scenario where whatever, the pinball machines went for $150 and Amazon's just like, whatever. I don't know, maybe Arcade1Up ate it, I'm not sure. Let's see. Stargate. It's like Speakergate. Okay, love the Midway games. Let's see. We're talking about Midway. I'm going to kind of jump some of this chat because it'll be a big repeat of topics. Mortal Kombat Trilogy has no business being on the Defender cab and should have been Should have been Robotron, Stargate, and Sinistar. So this is what I think the mistake that Arcade1Up made. They didn't, and it's probably a little bit of Midway's fault as well, because Arcade1Up works with the publisher to design those titles, and sometimes they're all making a guess of what will succeed. And I think they bet on, let's spend the time and investment of getting emulation to run smoothly with a set of games that they would re-release on Mortal Kombat. And then they could just reskin those same games and shuffle them, and they could just reuse that control panel and be like, hey, Mortal Kombat control panel is close enough to Defender, right? And people are like, some people were like, okay, that works for me. If this is my only opportunity to get Defender, then I guess I'll do it. And some people did that. But I think what they found was the demand was actually just like this, what RetroCat is saying, that they want a proper Defender. And when the Tron came out, that was also a bet. That was like, maybe Tron will do well. I think it did incredibly well. And that taught them that, hey, we can make a cabinet with only 2 games. Is that right? Tron just got 2 games? I don't know. I never bought it. And people, for the most part, really liked it. And now there's some debate about the joystick, and it's breaking for some, not for others. And that's a mistake they made. But from a point of view of sales, I think they sold out right away. Rarely do we see like Target or Walmart get a cab up there, and within 24 hours, they're just out of stock. And that's what happened with Tron. And here's the, hold on a second. I got to get a new mouse or something because my scroll wheel is just terrible. Nick Madston with a Sinistar. I saw your picture, buddy. He was playing a cockpit Sinistar. I believe he was. So amazing. So much fun. I know you were in Chicago having a good time with Retro Ralph. Really happy for you guys having a good time. So NFL Blitz, Arcade1Up can take my money now. King Kong says, Justin, why do you think Walmart price dropped The Simpsons to $1.99 to liquidate, but didn't drop the price of X-Men? That's a good point. I've seen some other people talk about this whole issue with Simpsons, like it's just the like I don't know, like it was not a very successful cabinet in a lot of people's opinion. I do know in my area that there were 2 or 3 Simpsons cabinets in my area. So let me back up. If people don't know about this, let's talk about it. Some people may know about this, but if you go to walmart.com and you type in The Simpsons, you may or may not see a price drop. You probably won't. So $5.99. So what I did was $3.99. I'm sorry. So $3.99. There's it in the city called Johnson, around where I live. They have, see how it says pickup not available at the Grimes Super. This is the city called Grimes, and they have a Walmart there, right? And so this is a Walmart that's near me, and I go there from time to time, and they did have 2 or 3 Simpsons there. And right when I saw the $1.99 price drop, I went to Walmart, and I've been tracking, like every couple, weeks I go to Walmart to pick up something, and, I'll go check by the Arcade1Up area. Again, they had multiple cabinets. They had Ms. Pac-Man. What else was there? I have it on my phone. I took pictures, and they had a couple Simpsons there, but they were all priced at like $5.99, I believe. Was it maybe $3.99? I can't remember. And so anyway, but it wasn't that discounted. And then once I saw the discounts, I went there and I saw on the website it was still available. And I go there, gone. The entire Arcade1Up area fully liquidated, completely gone. And then I'm looking at it very closely. I was like, is there any evidence that there was just this mass, liquidation? Well, I did see that the Ms. Pac-Man was discounted according to the sticker. But I believe I saw Simpsons $3.99. And there was other, like Mortal Kombat was discounted as well. That was like the Legacy Edition. The one without the riser. But again, that entire Arcade1Up area is completely gone. I went this last week and went there, and they had a Ms. Pac-Man Partycade for $99, which is also being reported on the different forums as people picking up that deal. Now, I passed on that one. I don't need another Partycade, but it was tempting for a $99 price. But I just don't need it. So I do believe it's real, and we're seeing reports of it. Why it's happening, I believe, and that's what one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video. I think they're making room. Like, this didn't sell as well as they hoped it would, but they got new cabinets coming that they think will sell better. So they liquidate, eat the cost, and they buy the next run. They buy the next run and go, let's give it another shot. You know, it's like that. That's all, the only explanation I can give. And then why not X-Men? I don't know. Well, my Walmart didn't have X-Men. I don't know about you guys. Did you guys have as many X-Men as The Simpsons? In my area, all I saw was The Simpsons. So my assumption is they just have more in stock, right? And of The Simpsons, and then the need to move more. And so they're like, let's price that down. Let's see. Sinistar needs a proper joystick. It's not nearly as good, and some would argue useless. Yeah, that's why I think Arcade1Up is going to develop a joystick that would, if they need a 49-way gate for the NFL Blitz. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I have very little information on NFL Blitz. You know, I loved NBA Jam. I remember when that game came out, I played it at the bowling alley like all the time. And NFL Blitz is something that I didn't play as often, so I didn't get into the details. And I just one time again was watching a video about NFL Blitz having a 49-way gate, and made me think, if they're going to do that one proper, then could they do a Sinistar proper as well? Let's see. Yeah, have fun getting those giant midway cabinets to your basement. That's right. My Walmart didn't drop the price in my area. They were still $3.99. I'd have to buy it for I would have bought it for $1.99. Yeah. So Arcade1Up needs a twin stick with Robotron, Smash TV, Battlezone, Berserk, etc. They need Qbert, but like Sinistar, it's an odd joystick layout. So maybe a countercade for that. Yeah, I think for Qbert, a countercade is like a no-brainer. Why they haven't done that up to this point? They should have. I don't know. Maybe there's a weird thing with the license. I don't know. I think they can get the license, but maybe it's more like they don't know if they could move it or something like that. But with Sinistar, right? I don't think is as odd as a Qbert, because I don't know how much it would cost for them to build and manufacture and develop a 49-way gate, but I would assume, here's the deal, right? John talks about this on another stream, and he's made posts about it. Anytime they spend money on developing, whether it's emulation or a new piece of hardware, maybe it's the 4-player controller deck, all those things, they want to spread that out. There's a word for it. I can't remember what it is, but it means like essentially they need to make that money back. So they use it on as many projects as they can, so they can kind of, you know, get back their investment. That's what I'm thinking with the 49-way gate. So identify all of the cabinets that they have a license for that has a 49-way gate, and that may give you an answer of what we may see in the future. All right. So I want a balance of older and newer cabs, but I feel like that's going to put them in a difficult spot with iArcade. There's a lot of people looking closer at iArcade now that they got the new cabinet coming out. And Michael B's getting an iArcade. I have to admit, it did make me pause for a second and go, should I be getting that? No, I'm like, no, I got this one. I'm good. The 19K Fox is picking it up, but 19K Fox never had an iArcade, so that makes sense. He wants to dip his toes into that for sure. Let's see. I would hire people to move the machine, let them get a hernia. Now, that's something that I've recently learned, and that's really changed everything when it has to do with owning full-size arcades. I was able to contact a person that actually runs the auction in my area, and he's willing to move any arcade machine locally for only $50 for me. Like, he has this big trailer. I call him up, and I'm like, hey, I got a cabinet picked up. Can you go get it? He's like, yep, $50. Then in Kansas City, there's another cabinet that I bought is the Neo Geo. Got it for like $200. And I talked to that owner, and he's willing to deliver for me as well. Any cabinets that he sells at his auction, he'll deliver it out on his time schedule for it's like a couple $100. It's like $400 for a Neo Geo cabinet, for example. But it's that's another auction that I potentially could go at. And so, you know, you might be wondering, what are you doing, Justin? You're like buying all these full-size arcades. You're buying all these Arcade1Ups. When it comes to full-size arcades, I have the room for many full-size arcades, but I also have temporary room in my garage for more. So I am buying a few more, and some of them are projects, and then I have all of these auctions in the Des Moines area. My plan is just to resell them at those auctions. So they're kind of like a temporary summer project, right? So I'll get these cabinets, work on them during the summer, try to work on them, you know, fix them up, and then flip them. And also what I heard in my area is the auctions that are at the early of the year, beginning of the year, full-size arcades, you can get them for cheap. The ones at the end of the year, it's harder to get them for cheap. They go for a higher price, which means, I mean, just that alone, like you can buy a cabinet for, I mean, I got a Zaxxon for like $400 in great shape. I don't plan on selling that, but I could. And the last auction I went to that was in the end of the year, the Zaxxon went for like $700-800. You see what I mean? And that's like a thing. So, I don't have a truck. I've been thinking about getting a truck, but then I realized paying someone $50 to deliver it to my house is way cheaper than buying a truck. So if you're new to that and you want to dip your toes into that, and you can afford that, it's also a fun hobby to expand all of this in. Let's see. I think they would compete if they were the newer cabs and keep on releasing older game cabs too. There was a couple months ago I talked to John, and he was saying their plan is to kind of, they see the older cabinets and the newer cabinets as like two different demographics. What they didn't know is that both demographics are pretty excited about their genre of titles, and there's interest in both areas. So every year they're going to try to appease both of those groups. Let's see. Greg says, I can play almost any game on my ALU with coin ops on my PC. I want to buy Arcade1Up as their as near arcade accurate representation, like Tron. That and those arcades with unique controls. Star Wars. This is very true, and I think this took me a couple years to figure out, and I think that's exactly accurate. I think it's really good idea to have something like an AtGames Legends Ultimate as your multicade. You can play a lot of these games through different means, you know, whether it's just sideloading it on the machine, or you use coin ops, or you use your PC, but you have that arcade control, and that's not too bad. But then when you buy Arcade1Up, then you pick out games. You be very selective with your cabinets if you still have that you have that game room, right? And that game room, you pick out those controls that are very unique, like light gun games, like Star Wars, you know, all these different cabinets. Man, it feels like that's the end of my show, but it's not. So I can only play that song at the beginning. You guys know what I mean? Like, if I play my theme song, it's like that's the beginning or the end of the show, right? So let me skip past that. Anyway, so that's a good way to mix it up, right? How about Donkey Kong Jr.? How about Nintendo? Will probably never allow it, but I hope they will one day. Let's see. Let's jump forward. I know I'm way behind on these chats. See, Richard Ralph, yes, Blitz. We got confirmation, finally. He says, yes, Blitz uses a 49-way gate too, but Sinistar has this weird rubber spider center grommet. It's actually quite different, but also 49-way. I see. So that grommet's probably giving you a different feel, right? Yeah. Rubbery or something? I got to play it, figure it out. Let's see. Pro version, Double Dragon, or Operation Wolf. Let's see. Congo Bongo used the same board as Zaxxon. Ah, there we go. Let's see. Well, not a 49-way gate. It's not a restrictor gate, but you already know that. Anyway, cool topic. Yeah, so it's really about that sensitivity, I think. And that's something I just learned, where the Sinistar has that rubber grommet, and that's probably has a very unique feel to it, you know? Ralph with a Lewis, hope all is well, bud. Yep, going good. Glad you and Nick had fun at Galloping Ghost. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to follow that on social media, how Ralph was hanging out with Nick Madsen at Galloping Ghost. Hope they had a really good time. Mason was there, so hopefully we got a good video coming out soon from that. Let's see, Clax29 says, it's a shame that the only twin stick game we got was Karate Champ, while games like Smash TV, Robotron, Black Widow, Cloak and Dagger are games we all wanted but have not been released. I mean, this is the common theme that I keep on hearing from everyone. Is like, we want new titles, different titles. Like, and again, tonight we've been going through a big list of games, and a lot of the titles we've never seen from Arcade1Up. We know they have the license, but they keep returning. Huh? They're scared. I get it. I get it. I get it. They're scared. They're scared. Arcade1Up scared. I totally get it. Like, for example, like I'm gonna feel it out, right? I made this video, and is what I love doing. I love making videos where I put a lot of time and effort into it. I learned so much by making this video, but I was scared. I was scared to try something new, scared to try something different, but I did it, and I feel so good about it. But, you know, hey, the video came out. It's not doing very good on views. I'm scared. Arcade1Up is scared. They're afraid to try new titles because they know it works. They know Mortal Kombat works. They know Pac-Man works. They know what titles they can sell cabs with. But what they don't know is what they don't know. But if you don't try, how would you ever know? Like, I feel like I put out this video, and I'm asking everyone to go check it out. It's my new content style. I even have an intro with retro theme synth music, multiple cameras, a head, you know, over the head camera, and I want to try new content style, right? But you know how I can succeed on doing this? Is by doing it and just keep doing it and keep doing it, because my content will get better and better, and not be afraid to try new things. Arcade1Up should not be afraid to try new things. I think that's the answer. I think that's the answer. It's like therapy for myself here as a weird YouTube content creator. I know it's kind of weird, but I feel it. And I think they struggled with a whole bunch of different marketing people to try to give them the answer. You know, and what I had heard is Bashar, who was their marketing person that they hired last year, is no longer with the company. And the head of marketing is now like Scott Baccarat's sister or something. Maybe they're going back to more of a family-owned company where they're like, let's invest in what we know and let's try new things. Are they going to try new things? Are they? Are they? But a close-knit of people, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. Got me all excited, maybe slightly emotional, because I had this huge epiphany in my head. It was like, yeah, that's pretty interesting. All right, that breakdown of the music was kind of weird. Okay. The very early games from the 70s usually used buttons, trackball. It skipped. Why is I lost the chat. Sorry. I lost the chat. Yep, have to get a new mouse now. Okay. Justin, do you have any other cabs you're thinking of selling? King Kong, I wonder if you're talking about Arcade1Up cabinets or full-size cabinets. I have a Play Choice real cabinet that I got to work on. There was actually on eBay a new control deck for $300 that I thought it was really good because it had the volcano buttons. Those volcano buttons are actually expensive, but my control panel is actually in really good shape. I need to buy like the actual Play Choice 10 to do a repair on that, and I was gonna get the artwork on it. That's something I definitely want to sell once I get it all fixed up. But I have a pretty nice Play Choice down here right in the basement that's like fully restored. For Arcade1Up cabinets, I mean, I have the old Street Fighter 2, and I totally think a Street Fighter 2, Legacy Street Fighter 2 Pro version is coming out. That may be the definitive Street Fighter. So I have Big Blue, so I'm thinking about selling Big Blue, actually. Although I really love Big Blue, I don't think it's the definitive Arcade1Up Street Fighter. And that's one I've seen Street Fighter at the local auctions to buy. And there was one I almost got. It was like a converted Street Fighter with like a Pandora's box in it, but it was like a casino machine that they like redid. It was really cool, but we were trying to get it for like $400. I could even get it in my SUV, no problem. And we lost it. It ended up going for $600. And I don't know why, but my daughter was playing it. She's like, I love this machine. I think it was because it was like she's short, right? So her top height, she's 13, but she'll probably be like 5'5", that's the measurement based on when she was 2 years old. We doubled it or whatever. And it's like, she'll probably be like 5'5". That cabinet, the Street Fighter, where you're kind of like looking down on it because it's this old like casino machine that was converted, but it actually had the artwork on it. She like totally wanted it, and I wanted to get it, but we didn't get it. So other than that, I don't think I really want a big Street Fighter for some reason. So if they came out with a pro Street Fighter, you know, like a big boy Street Fighter, if they came out with a pro Street Fighter, I might get that. So I might sell the Big Blue if they do that. I think they're going to. But I won't buy it if it's going to have the same monitor as the Light Star or whatever. Roger Ralph, it's just a correction. Sorry, I'm going to be that guy. It's not technically a gate. It's an optical joystick for those that care. Yes, there you go. So it's like 49 way directions, but not really a gate because there's nothing about it that's restricting like the movements, right? But it's like an optical joystick, like your optical mouse. It can go in like all these directions, but it's finite to 49 different possible granular points. Right? 7x7 grid, and you're a point, and are you in this box or that box or this box or the center? Where are you at? And based on that, the game is all like, ooh, I should do this. I should do this. The plane should spin faster, or the football player should go quicker. And I think we had a super chat, and I lost it. Here we go. Console fanboy. Therapy moment. People are afraid to try new things. Companies are afraid to. He gets it. He gets it. Let's see. C Marvels 360 says, I wouldn't be surprised if they are using these bigger name titles to increase their income in order to produce better 80s titles down the line. That's a good theory. It's a good theory. Definitely like it. Definitely like that theory. Maybe that could work. You know, you try things out. You know, you go with something. I see what you do. You make cabinets that you know will work, but you keep on trying out new ones every now and then, right? You keep on... I see. That's a good strategy. My favorite commenter, Pitbull, saying, Space, Beaver, Fire, Chicken. All caps. Exclamation point. Thank you very much for your input. Arcade1Up needs to make Road Blasters since I can't find a real one. You can't find a real one? Molar Medic, you can't find a real one? They're out there. They're out there. Papa Brad with the online will be huge too, especially the retro titles. Arcade1Up will get left behind quickly online now that iArcade has been working on it. Playing games with the community is the way to the future. Now, I definitely want to mention that is a really good topic here. Give you my thoughts on the iArcade. I think I've said it a few times, but it's worth saying again, the iArcade Gold Edition is out. And then if you haven't picked up an iArcade, these are the new prices for the iArcade. But they have literally hundreds of games that you can buy at their store, right? And it's pretty exciting about it. You know, pretty exciting to have a multicade like this where you can support a company and it's a good machine, it's a high-quality machine, premium machine. It's a 19-inch screen that doesn't have the ghosting as bad as the Golden Tee. The only downside I've ever said about the iArcade is the way it looks. Everything else about it is really great. And, you know, they're working on more AAA titles. Space Invaders is definitely going in that direction. They have a lot of different titles that are a lot of fun. And this year, they basically have told us how this is going to be their year for a lot of amazing titles. But more importantly, to Papa Brad's point, it's really, really true. What iArcade is doing with their online, I think, is really, really smart. Unlike the AtGames ecosystem where it was only playing from the cloud. Anytime that I played it, I played Metal Slug. It was super laggy. I was playing by myself, and my own player was lagging, and it was just like, no, not feeling it, not feeling it. And that was legit. Like, they had a cloud service, and you could play these games. But again, it had lag. It even told you what the lag was, and even with the Cat 5. I was in Des Moines. Their server was in Chicago. That latency was just enough. But what iArcade is doing, which is really exciting, is they allow both net play and server play, right? So you can play online with the server where the game is actually running at a server, and then, you know, there will be lag, but that's an option that you can try with your friends if you have an iArcade. And right now, at least during the beta, it's completely free to be able to play any of these games. You just have to have the game, right? So if you have the game, you own the game, you can play with other people online, and they're still in that alpha testing, right? But when you go select a game, you can say NetPlay, or you can do like the server, and you figure out which one's better. And over time, I think our iArcade is going to figure out which one is working better for them, and maybe they'll spend more time on whichever one is not doing well. I don't know. Like, we'll see where it lands, but that is freaking cool that they're doing that, where they're offering both solutions. They're literally the only home arcade that is saying we're going to offer online through multiple ways to play online. And then they're the only multi-cade that's offering NetPlay, right? So that's a kind of exclusive to the iArcade. So iArcade is definitely pushing the needle forward, and that's really cool. Peter Griffin Electric Drums. He's one of the Peter Griffin. There's so many times like you comment, and then literally I go see something, and I'm like, I gotta go tell that to Peter. Peter Griffin Electric Drums needs to know about this. But then I'm like hunting through my videos to try to find a comment from you so I can reply back. I need you on Twitter, buddy, so I can mention you when something cool happens. And I'll try to do that with more people. I know JJ reaches out a lot. And if I see something cool about titles that you're into as well, I'll mention you. Because I'll be like, dude, did you see this? Anyway, so he says Arcade1Up has had the Sega license forever. Yet no Virtual Fighter, Virtual Cop, Daytona USA. Okay. Let me explain it. I know this answer. It's like on Jeopardy when the category comes up, you're like, I know this one. Okay, so Arcade1Up works with Sega to develop emulation that can run on the ARM-based platform. They also work with Code Mystics or DigitalOcean or Digital Eclipse or Other Ocean, or I don't know, To Do Games. There's all these different integrators and companies that provide emulation at a commercial level. Commercial is what Arcade1Up is doing. They don't want to use any open source because that puts them at risk. Because what if they didn't understand, the lawyers didn't understand the legal agreement between, it ends up being like, a license that requires them to provide attribution, or a website that says that we use this open source, or it makes their machines vulnerable. There's all these risks that come with using open source. Arcade1Up has decided that they're only going to use commercial licenses through these different companies. And when they work with a publisher with a very unique set of emulation, they all work together to build that emulator that will run on what's called low-powered devices, or these ARM-based processors. They have not yet done that for titles, for emulators that require Virtual Fighter and Daytona USA. They haven't made that investment, right? So right now they're trying to make money on all of the emulation for the games that they have spent the millions of dollars, probably $100,000, maybe even $1 million, to develop a commercial emulator for these platforms. So you're probably saying, I can emulate that all day long. Yeah, you're using open source, and you're not a company that's trying to resell something. Arcade1Up is, and that's the choice that they're making. So that I think that's their entire company, is basically this ability to be able to commercially, license and reduce risk and put it on the market and try not to get sued and try, to sell a lot. And so not only do they have the license, but yes, they have the license, but they don't yet have those systems emulated yet at a commercial level. Okay, I think the Legends Ultimate will make another run at a new cabinet with video games. Oh, do you ever think the Legends Ultimate will make another run at a new cabinet? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Legends Ultimate new stuff anytime soon. Anything recently. I have doubts that there'll be another run. From what I've heard is they're going back to consoles, because that's there's not as much capital demand for the consoles, and they make a lot of money. But with the Legends Ultimate, there's a lot of money up front, and with shipping costs, there's super high shipping demands to get these cabinets built and then shipped over to the different areas that they sell in. I think maybe there's just the pandemic is creating a scenario where it's difficult for AtGames to continue to invest in the home arcade. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. Wow, TNT Amusement. I had 2, maybe 3 Cabaret Space Firebirds over the years. Man, this is crazy. I've never had TNT Amusement come into my chat. That's so awesome. is that I had maybe 3 Cabaret Firebirds over the years. That's really cool. Let's see. Nintendo cabinet. No, I think it would be cool if Arcade1Up made a deal with Nintendo. We've talked about this on this channel several times, and I think the idea is they're building up to that. They have to continue to extend their reach. 3, 4, 5, 6 million cabinets sold. They're at about 3+, and I don't think they're selling as many or as fast as they were previously. It's probably one of the reasons why the prices is going up, because their volume is not as high as it used to be. It's kind of like this horrible scenario where it's like shipping costs go up, so their costs have to go up, but because the costs are going up, their margins are going down, which means their volume is probably not as high, and if their volume is not as high, then their reach is not as high. That's what I think is going on, which is probably why we're seeing a lot of more collectorcades, because you know what? The collectorcade is a small device that a collectorcade is a small device that doesn't have high shipping cost demands. Curtis says, I want a dual trackball cab with Marble Madness, Missile Command, and the unreleased arcade classics that have revamped Missile Command Centipede that offered dual. And King Kong says, before we know it, Scott will be drinking out of a little size Poland spring bottle. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. Definitely go check out my video here. Again, watch it. It's only a 5-minute video. I try to pack it with a whole bunch of information in only 5 minutes. That's my plan with this content. Give me a comment on that video and let me know what you think of it. Again, I put a lot of time and effort into this video. Would love to think about it. See how like every 3 seconds there's another video scene. It's just a lot of time. It's like 3 days. I've never spent 3 days on a video. It's usually like, 2 hours or 4 hours on a video. This was 10 times that amount. So really excited about the possibility of Arcade1Up coming out with the Stargate. And here in this video, we just illustrated how there is a ton of people in the live chat. They're demonstrating a ton of titles that they would love to see, both a mixture of older games and newer titles. Arcade1Up still has a huge roadmap that they could continue to make games on. I think it's possible that we're going to see some re-releases each year, but again, in the past, E3 has been the time frame for some big new titles, and I think this year will be no different. So I look forward to the next 6 weeks. Hopefully we're going to see some big new titles, and finally we're going to see Mortal Kombat Legacy Edition come out, and we're going to get reviews on it. It's an exciting time to be covering home arcade, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one, the next video. That'll be later, and hopefully that next video is a GBA console video that I made. It'll be fun. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week. I hope you have a wonderful week. I really do. TNT Amusements, I enjoyed the show. Todd, thank you so much for coming and joining. You are like an idol of mine. I love watching your streams. Especially, they're just fun to watch your live streams when you're doing your auctions. One of my favorite things is auctions. And when you do your auctions and you're showing your boards and your circuit boards, the different things that have available, and you'll ship them to people, it's so cool. It's what inspired me to play with Whatnot. So I am a Whatnot reseller. You should check out Whatnot, Todd. If you need an invite, Ralph, myself, or RetroRGB, reach out to us. We'll get you an invite to Whatnot. I don't know, Todd Ducky on Whatnot would be insane, right? But their thing is they ship small things. I don't think they're gonna ship arcades, but circuit boards, some of those are smaller, right? That'd be really cool. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Yeah, the sale videos are great. Take care.